back to my YouTube channel. It is Nikki here. So today I have a different kind of video. I've been doing my base makeup for the last week a little bit differently, and I've actually been using powder. I know, powder, me using powder a lot more in my makeup routine, and I thought, you know what, I've just quickly put on these eyes. They're a bit glitzy, just really simple. Let me do my base on camera and show you guys what I've been doing and how I'm using powders to bake, and how I'm also using powders to now highlight. This method, I have tested it for the whole week, will last the whole day, and your concealer won't budge, your foundation will not budge, nothing will budge. It is bulletproof. So, well, not actually bulletproof. So without further ado, if you want to see how I get a really long lasting foundation base makeup, then just keep on watching. So I would suggest to you guys, because we are using a lot of powders and powders are dry, that we heavily moisturize the skin. I think, I feel like your foundation base really depends on what you're putting on and your skincare beforehand. It needs to be hydrated. Your skin needs to be hydrated. I've noticed that when I'm tired, my skin is so dehydrated that makeup just looks so crepey. It doesn't matter how much I moisturize. So it's all down to your skin beforehand and your skin prep beforehand. So I'm going to be using the Kiehl's. This is the Ultra Facial Cream. Can I just add that this is expensive, guys. It's expensive, but it moisturizes, but it is hella expensive. I'm going to be popping on this generously all over the skin and neck area to start off with, and then blend it in. I'm also just going to let this sit for a couple of seconds just to really absorb into the skin. Next, we're going to move on to foundation. You guys can use whatever foundation you like. However, I'm going to go back to a staple of mine, which is MAC Face and Body in C5 and in C6. I like to mix these two together and then pop them all over the face. The reason why I like to use these is because these are really hydrating, I find, and then with the powder they just work really nicely. They're also a very kind of sheer coverage, and then I like to build up coverage with my concealer, so I feel like it all just works. So I'm going to go ahead, mix these two together, and then apply them all over the face and neck area using a damp beauty blender. So guys, the reason why I wanted to change my base makeup is because I was watching Amy from Amy's Makeup Box, and she recently went to a Makeup by Ariel's masterclass, and the way in which he does his base makeup and the way that he uses powders and stuff, I was like, I need to try it out. And it just works. It works for longevity. He always says that it's photography makeup, which I feel like it is, but it looks flawless and it looks airbrushed. So I'm taking tips from that and then just adapting them to how I would like them. He also just goes like this with a beauty blender, apparently she was saying, for 40 minutes, which I'm not gonna do, but I do it a lot more than I would now. I just go over and keep sponging over so the foundation can look as natural as possible. Moving on to concealer now, I am going to be using my Conceal and Define, the supersized one by Makeup Revolution in the shade C12. And I'm going to be popping this underneath my eyes. Now, I don't cover the whole of my under eye like I used to, just where there is the darkness. And then I'm going to let this sit for about 20 seconds before I blend it out with a beauty blender. This is just going to help give us that extra bit of coverage, so I don't need to keep applying. It just gives it all to me in one go. I must say, guys, I'm not a fan of doing eyes before base makeup, because things like this happen to me where I'm like, oh, it's not properly blended, and I don't understand how other people do it. Do they just go over with eyeshadow afterwards and then blend out edges? I'd just rather do my base and then deal with the glitter fallout, you know? Okay, now because I have a little bit of pigmentation around my mouth area, just around this sector, I like to go in with a little bit of a more orangey color corrector concealer, if that makes sense. Well, it's a color corrector concealer more so for me, and that would be the MAC Pro Longwear Concealer in NC45. It's just got that really nice orangey red tone to it, which just helps counteract all that darkness there. So I'm going to add a little bit to my beauty blender and then just blend it around this area just to neutralize everything and make sure that it doesn't look ashy. Now would usually be the time where I would go into highlight, but we're not going to be doing that. We're skipping that step altogether because we're going to be doing it with powders later on. So stay with me, guys. I'm going to be doing some cream bronzing with the Maybelline Super Stay. I'm going to also be using my Kryolan makeup blend that I've been using with everything. What it does is it just shears out the product, so it makes it a lot more natural, and then you can build it up, which I really like with cream products, but I also use it with thicker liquids as well. And I'm actually going to be popping this on to the cream and then dipping my brush into it. That way I can control how much product I'm using on my face. And I'm just gonna bronze everywhere that I usually would, which would be the cheekbones, the temple areas, the jawline, and just the sides of the nose as well. Guys, if you are looking to get this kryolan makeup blend, it'd be worth noting that anything that you mix it into, it will still dry matte. So you don't have to be concerned of it being really shiny on the skin. It will just dry down matte. Now that we are done with all of the wet products or the cream products, I'm going to move on to powders. I'm actually going to be using 4 powders today. The first one is the Huda Beauty. This is the Easy Bake Loose Baking and Setting Powder. This is a translucent one in Sugar Cookie. I'm going to use this with a really fluffy brush just to set underneath the eyes. We just want to set them and then we'll bake them afterwards for brightness. The reason why we're going to set them very lightly with a fluffy brush is so they don't get crepey and they don't get wrinkly and dry. Now once that's done and they're lightly set, we're going to go in and we're going to bake. Now the baking process is going to set them further, but it's also, the powders that I'm using are going to brighten. So you don't actually need to go in with a concealer to highlight and mix it all with the concealer underneath. This is what's going to brighten our under eyes. So for this, I'm actually going to be using the Givenchy. This is the Prisme Libre in 05 Satin Blanc, and I'm also going to mix it a little bit with the Airspun. This is the translucent extra coverage. The reason why I'm doing this is because this is a tad pink, so it's just going to add a little bit of a nice brightness underneath my eye. I'm going to take both of these, mixing them together on a triangle sponge, and then create like an underneath a triangle under my eyes, packing this baking powder on and then leaving it, letting it just sit. Once that highlights on underneath our eyes, don't worry, it's a little bit messy. I'm just going to take the tiny bit of the triangle sponge, this side, and I'm taking both the powders again and just highlighting down the center of my nose. Okay, so now I just want to highlight my jawbone. I don't want to highlight with the same baking powder because I want my under eyes to be quite bright, but not the sides of my face. So I need to go in with something a little bit darker. I'm going to be using the Charlotte Tilbury. This is the Magic Powder Under Eye and Face. And this one is in the shade Tan Dark. So again, I'm going to use a triangle sponge, pack that on, and then just pack it down at the sides to give me a really nice structured jawline and cheekbone. Notice also when I do that jawline, I don't go just straight down. I go down, and then I like to just create more of a curvature. I can't tell you why that is, but I feel like it works better with my face shape. Now, using a little bit of that triangle sponge with the Charlotte Tilbury and dipping into my Airspun, which is a little bit lighter, just mixing them 2 colors together, I'm going to highlight my forehead, and also I'm going to highlight underneath my chin by creating an upside down triangle. This way we are mega set for the day. Now we're looking a little bit cray. I'm going to set my cream bronzer in place. I'm going to be using my MAC Give Me Sun because why wouldn't I be? So I'm just going to be using that to lightly dust over the top of everywhere that we added the cream product. Now it's time to move back to the eyes. I want to smoke my under eyes whilst I am baking. I'm going to be using this eyeshadow palette, the Endless Possibilities one. It is absolutely stunning, and I'll leave the link for it down below. I'm actually going to be using 2 shades, Choco Feast, and I'm going to be mixing this with a little bit of panna cotta on a flat brush, and then I'm just going to be running this on my lower lash line, very close to my lashes. Now I've been baking for a couple of minutes. I think it's safe to remove the bake. The way in which it works is I believe the powder locks in with the heat of your skin and it locks everything in place, and that's why once you powder, things don't tend to budge. The way in which I like to remove my bake is with like a blending crease brush. I'm just going to do a side to side motion just to remove all of the bake away, but be very gentle because you don't want to disturb anything. If it's liquidy at the bottom, it could start to congeal. You don't want any of that drama. Now that you've brushed your bake away, you may want to just go over some areas like with bronzer or smoking underneath, just to make sure that everything is really nicely blended. I'm going to add a little bit of blusher to start tying this look together. This is Benefit's California. It's a beautiful sort of coral shade, and I'm just going to pop this kind of high, more on where my cheekbones are, and then bring it up towards my temples. Now you can see the skin is looking super airbrushed. I need to go back to eyes. I'm going to add a little bit of inner corner highlight and highlight on the brow bone. For this, I'm going to go back to this eyeshadow palette and use the shade Champagne because I'm not myself if I haven't got inner corner highlighter. So I'm just going to add this with a pencil brush. Let's add a little bit of mascara to the lashes. I'm going to be using, this is the Maybelline, the Colossal Big Shot Volume Express Mascara. For lashes now, I'm going to be applying the Huda Beauty Farah lashes just because I can't get enough of them and I think they look beautiful with every look. So we're just going to quickly pop them on the eyes. Okay, so lashes are on. Obviously, it takes me a long time to put lashes on and my brain's always going. I'm thinking about one thing or another. And I was just thinking, rant of the day. It annoys me when people slip in to like your messages or your comment section actually on Instagram and they're like, check my video out. They don't say anything to you. They're like, check my video out. That annoys me. It also annoys me because I got this last night where someone's like, I'm your biggest fan. I love all of your work. I just don't like how you do this. I don't like how you pout your lips. I don't like them fairy lights in the background. But I'm your biggest fan and I just want to tell you because it's really not nice that you do that. And I'm literally like, just leave me alone. Like, let me be. Like, let me do what I want to do. If I want to pout, I want to pout. Like, you don't need to tell me. I got a comment where someone was like, you look like a monkey. What? Like, I actually looked at it and laughed. I was like, what? Why? Like, why do people still feel the need to troll? Like, and also, I think I'm quite good because I will just I'll just leave it for a bit and then I'll comment back because I will go on your page and I will look and I'll be like, say something in my head and I won't say it out loud. Because when someone says something to you that's nasty, right? You get the defense, you get your back up, don't you? Because you're like, I haven't done anything. You don't even know who I am. Anyway, that was rant of the day. Let me know what your thoughts are down below. I am going to go ahead and add a little bit of mascara to my lower lashes as well. We're finally getting there. We're going to move on to highlighter. I'm going to be using the Iconic London. This is like their, I don't know, like their cream highlighter, jelly highlighter, kind of a mix of the both. This is the Multi-Glow Frosted Gold. It's a bit dangerous what I'm doing because I've got a hell of a lot of powder on, but I want to kind of give my skin a little bit of a glow and make it look wet without using a powder now. So I'm actually just going to pop this on my beauty blender and gently just blend it over all of the high points of the face. For lips now, I'm going to keep it super simple. We're just going to use a little bit of Fenty Glow on the lips. And then a really, really important step is because we've used a shit ton of powder, we're going to look powdery, right? We look airbrush, but we're going to look powdery. So I need to use my MAC Prep and Prime Fix Plus. Anything hydrating, you need to use a mist to really let all them powders settle in and make everything look like skin again, so it doesn't look too chalky on the skin. And that, guys, is the finished look. I hope you guys really enjoyed it and learned something new today. I've just been trying it out and I know that it lasts a while. I would say that this is quite heavy. So for every day, I wouldn't do this at all. It'd be like if you're going out on a night out, or if you're going out and you're going to be like out for 10 hours, 12 hours, and you don't want to touch up, you don't want to take your makeup back. It's for people like that. So I hope you guys learned something new. I love you guys so very much. Make sure that you follow me on Instagram because I have a new video up every single day there. And you can keep up to date with me on my stories there as well. And I'll see you in my next video. Mwah.